Welcome to Thursday Thoughts, your weekly dose of real, honest conversation on all things personal growth. These are the chats Lucy and I love having every week over on Instagram. They're unfiltered, unedited, and always rooted in practical tools and a dose of inspiration. Let's dive in.
I'm good. How's your knee, love?
Well, it is a bit better. I can walk around without a crutch around the house, which is good. I'm down to one going out down to my little walk down to the beach, so it's getting better. It's feeling better, but it's still not right. But I've got an MRI scan this week, and I'm starting physio this week. So,
what's the prognosis have they said?
I still haven't. I mean, I'm still the same, really, because I've seen one person. I've seen a knee specialist in Brighton, and he was like, yes, it's definitely your anterior cruciate ligament. We will know more once we've had a scan, but you need to start with physio as soon as possible, and potentially surgery, which is a bit.
Are you serious?
Yeah, so I've just got to. So the scan will really tell us how bad it is. So
when the scan was?
Thursday. It's just so annoying because of the time of year, it's just taking ages to see anybody.
Yeah.
So I'm just very much in that in-betweeny frustrating bit of waiting, hobbling around. I'm doing lots of upper body strength stuff. So I'm going to suddenly turn into this weird looking person with big shoulders and tiny little legs. But I just have to do something. It's so weird, having your mobility taken away from you when you do a lot of, I kind of do stuff every day, some sort of exercise and walking and everything, and it's
just walking,
just walking. So I kind of walk down to this. I'm so lucky I live near the seafront. So I hobble down, go and treat myself to a coffee, and I'll sit and it's been so nice because the sun's been out. So I go and sit wrapped up in the sun and hobble back. So at least I've got that, which is great. But yeah, it's just kind of feeling like I need to move. By the evenings I'm kind of feeling really fidgety and restless, but it's good. It's obviously it's teaching me something, slowing down, and this is what we all know we need to slow down, a lot of us. So I'm just trying to really embrace it and go with it. And I mean, it's a bit up and it's ups and downs, but there's a lot of worse things out there which could have happened, so it's not the end of the world.
Yeah. Oh my God, love. I can't. I mean, it's the thing is, I suppose it really makes you realize how much we take these things for granted, these everyday things like being able to get up and walk.
Yeah.
I mean, it just
lying in bed needing a wee in the night and going, oh God, I've got to get up, and I've got to get, just little things like that which you just take for granted.
Yeah.
And you just lie there holding on, going, I don't need to go, I can't be bothered. But you just take all these little tiny actions for granted. So be grateful for what we have when you have it, because it's only when it's removed that you realise, and then you know how much you are grateful for it. So what are we going to talk about, Lucy?
Well, I was just saying before you came on, so we've got two options, haven't we? So one of our options is signs and synchronicities, and our other option is talking about basically kind of choosing joy, because it's the new year and this is a time of year where people can tend to feel a bit down. I still don't know which one should we do. Do you have a
Let's go. I feel like let's go this week. Why don't we do finding joy? Because I think a lot of people are going back to work today, back to reality, back to, we've had, this sort of 2 weeks.
This will go out the following week.
This will go out the following week. But anyone watching today, yes. But it's still that kind of it's very easy, I think, to sort of, and I had a word with Giles about this at the weekend, because he was going, oh God, back to work and stuff. I was like, life's too short, you really. And I know it's normal and natural because you had a lovely time potentially with family. You've had some time off, slower mornings, all of that sort of thing, which I must admit I've really been enjoying as well. However, if it is making you feel heavy and really bad, that you're going back to your everyday working routine, your working life, then really I would invite you to try and find moments of joy within that and try and find some real positives in that, because otherwise you're just sort of wasting your life away doing a job you don't like. And okay, I'm not, I'm very, very fortunate. I do a job I absolutely love, so I'm very lucky. But don't get me wrong, there's still really shitty, boring, mundane parts to what I do as well. But we've got to try and find moments of happiness, of the fact that we get to do that job, we get to bring in money, we get to, I don't know, share your gift of whatever it is you're doing, or your skill, and it's just finding something you can hold on to, which is going to just shift you out of wanting the day to be over before it's even started, because that is no way to live life. And if it's really that bad, then it's about finding joy out of the work and finding ways maybe to shift and to find something else that you can do. Because I really, really, it just really saddens me that people are going to work and doing jobs that just make them feel rubbish. So, and I know it's difficult because I know, but it's just, trying to find something, and if your job's bringing you in money, then even just clinging on to that, you get to bring in some money. You've got a job, you're bringing in some money. I don't know, whatever it is, it's about finding those smallest, minutest details, or even the bigger things that make you going to feel not so miserable about restarting kind of normal everyday life again.
Yeah. I would say, I mean, this is going off on a slightly different topic, and I will come back to the finding joy. But I've got to say, because you know how I just can't resist, and we've talked about this before, which is that this is a very, very, very good time of year to check in with, am I enjoying what I'm doing with my life? Because look, there is a difference, and this is I think this is the question to ask. There is a difference between feeling a little bit like, oh, Christmas and New Year's over. Oh, that was really nice. And of course, it's natural to feel a little bit of like, oh, back to, it's the beginning of January and blah, 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 blah. That obviously, even if you do a job you love, that is to be expected. There's always going to be a part of us that's a little bit like, oh, it's such a shame. But there is a very big difference between that and between the feeling of absolute fucking dread of going back to the job that you're currently doing. And I personally would say that if it's the latter that you're feeling, if you are miserable, because God knows I have been there, where I have got to the end of the Christmas and New Year break and actually felt like, I can't do this. I just want to cry. And I've just felt absolutely just awful about having to this day, that this first day back again, this is going out the week later, but hey, it's only a week later. I totally been there, but I cannot help thinking that if you are feeling like that, then you've got to ask yourself, is it time to make a bigger change in your life? Is 2026 the year that you are going to find a new job, or do something different? Because you and I have talked about this before, whereby we do not want to really, we want to create a life, we want to be living a life, and this is all of us, we want to be living a life that we don't need to escape from. And again, I'm going off on a slight tangent here.
Yes.
If your 2-week holiday is the thing that you are living for, and that is the thing that you are waiting for and wishing for and counting down the weeks, and then when you come back, you're devastated to go back to work, that is a sign. That is a reason to really ask yourself, do I need to change? And again, I have been there. I know what it's like. And going back to what you were saying, yeah, it's not easy. I know better than most how not easy it is to do something different, but I can tell you now, it's bloody worth it. Anyway, this is going off on a slight tangent, but coming back to
but I think on that point though, Lucy, I think, I completely agree. And I think we're often held back mostly in terms of making that switch, probably by financial reasons, because of, we all need money to live, and we need, you might have a mortgage to pay or whatever. So
as do I.
that's what most people would always come back to.
But
So it's
also
not,
that's always our reason, and it was mine too for decades. So I just have to interject and say, yeah,
absolutely.
we always it always is about money, but. And I know as well as anyone, I have a mortgage to pay, I have bills to pay, I have to put food in my mouth, I'm single, there ain't no one else supporting me. So I totally get it. But if you're using that as the reason to not make the change, that is not the reason, because of course we need money, but you can make the change and still make money. You can work it out. You can start a side hustle that you gradually build. You can do it in the evenings. You can do it in the weekends. Ask yourself, how much time I'm spending on social media every day. Could you spare a half hour or an hour? Of course you bloody could. So if it is money that is holding you back from making the move, which it 99% of the time is, I think for many, many people, it certainly was for me for years. It's like, well, I can't. No, you don't understand. I would say you don't understand. You just don't understand. Well, I bloody well do understand.
Absolutely.
You know,
and I totally, I mean, that's it. It is about it's about starting planting the seed of what the other thing might be. And that's sometimes can be hard. You know, it's like, God, what can I do other than this? But it's about, you know, you've got to, it's not just going to, it might just land in your lap. It might just be a thought. You might have a side hustle. You might have a passion, or you've actually got to go and bloody find it. You've got to work towards working out what that thing is and moving towards it. But life is too short to not do it. You've got to just, I mean, it's like we can feel so trapped in our life that we have created because we've got all the stuff, because you've got the house, you've got the car, you've got, you know, you want all these things, and you're almost trapped if you've got the payments for all these things. So it's almost about, you know, can you start looking at, well, do I really need this? What, you know, it's almost like simplifying life. And I mean, I don't know, everyone's circumstance is so uniquely different. So you can't say what you need to do, but it's just worth asking yourself, is it worth staying stuck, feeling this dread of going back to work? Or actually, are you feeling a little bit of like, oh, I can't go back? And actually, can you just switch up your mindset? Because actually, your job's not that bad. You did like something about it in the first place. And actually, is it more to do with the fact that the perception through which you are seeing work, can you see it in a slightly different way? But actually, I enjoy this. I enjoy going to work. I enjoy the work I do. I like my colleagues. So is it more the idea of it that perhaps is making you have that feeling?
But if it's not the idea of it, if it is that you're in a job that you hate, perhaps you can start taking tiny steps towards doing something different. And that doesn't mean you have to leave your job in 2026. It just might mean that you can start making a plan in 2026 and start making little tiny moves towards seeing that plan through. Like it's just, you said life is too short. Well, life is too short. Life is too short to be not feeling like you're alive. If you just feel like you're getting through the days, if you're just like, oh yeah, another day, oh here we go, it's January again, oh God. If that is how you're feeling, that's not how we're meant to feel, by the way. That is not how we're meant to feel. And I used to feel like that. It's so familiar to me to feel that, oh God.
I know. I remember when I was teaching that back
winter.
to school.
Well, it's the worst feeling. It's the worst feeling. But I think that is why you and I want to say, guys, you're not stuck. The only thing you're not stuck doing this forever. The only thing that is ever holding us back is ourselves and the stories that we are telling ourselves. I'm really sorry. Tough love. I know I do it, but I can't help myself because I just feel it. So it just is something that I have felt myself for so long. And I cannot tell you how finally making the change to get the hell out of the life that was not lighting me up and to have a complete change and create a very, very different life, which, you know, again, is not easy and is incredibly hard work. But I wouldn't go back. I wouldn't go back if you paid me £1 million. I feel so much better now. So I just want people to understand that it is possible to make changes. And, you know, again, you don't have to be handing your notice in by March. It can just be that maybe 2026 is a year where you really start making that plan and working out what it is that you want to do and maybe doing something on the side. And just, I did a newsletter. I do an email every Sunday And a couple of weeks ago, I talked about how, and we were talking about this on a Thrive Solo call, actually, one of my membership calls, is how the time is going to pass anyway. So basically, whatever you do this year, you are going to get to the end of 2026 and the time is going to have passed. The question is, how are you going to spend that time? Are you going to spend half an hour or an hour a day doing something that is going to move you forward, so that in a year's time, so on the 5th of January 2027, you go, my God, I am so fucking grateful to myself that I did that little thing every day. I am so grateful that I bothered to, get up early and go to the gym because I feel amazing and I look amazing. Or I'm so grateful I started writing a paragraph every day, half an hour's worth of a book, because bloody hell, I got half a book. The time is going to pass anyway. How are you going to spend it? But going back to our what was going to be our topic of finding joy, I think it really is like, ultimately, joy isn't. I mean, of course, joy is something that can just come to us without trying. Things can happen during the day that make us feel joyful. But actually, I think we have to remind ourselves that we have to choose joy. We have to cultivate joy every goddamn day. It's a choice. Like we have to be intentional about creating joy in our lives every day. And as you and I know, and we've talked about here before, it can be this, it's what it's really about, I think, is about learning how to really genuinely get joy from the really, really tiny things. But again, you have to be intentional. So it might be that every day you go into your favorite coffee shop and you get your favorite coffee, but actually you glug it down without even thinking about. Don't do that. Get your morning coffee and go, oh my God, this is so delicious. How lucky am I to be drinking this? When you go for your daily walk, rather than allowing yourself to just get lost in thoughts of like, oh, what am I doing with my life, or whatever else it may be, listen to an uplifting podcast at the same time. Really notice the nature around you or whatever it may be. We have to choose joy. We have to. And I can't say this enough. It's something we've got to get intentional about. It's a decision that we've got to make. It's a decision that we have to make every day. It's a decision that I make every day. And there is no, there are no exceptions to this. We all get to do this. We're all human beings. We all get to choose joy every day. It is a decision. Like so many things in life, it's a goddamn decision that you have to make. We have to take responsibility for ourselves and our lives, and we have to take responsibility for finding joy. And again, it's like this sort of, I think, a key skill of life is if you get really bloody good at getting excited about the little things. I always use my cat as an example. I know, so sue me, but every day I look at that cat and I'm like, oh my God, I fucking love you so much. And he brings me joy every day. So if you have a pet, how many times do you just take your pet for granted and just sort of don't really notice this cat or this dog or whatever? I think cats are easier to ignore than dogs because they don't need you so much. But do you do that every day with your pet? Do you look at it and go, God, you are so beautiful. I'm so grateful to having in my life. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, and I know it does, but it works. And every day I look at Johnny, and he brings me joy every day. So I get a shot of joy every day, multiple times from my cat. But that is an intentional thing I do. And the thing is, the better you get at choosing to feel joyful about the little things, you then start to do it. It starts to become automatic. Yeah. It's like anything. It's like anything to do with cultivating a more positive mindset. The more you do it, the easier it is, and the more it becomes your default. That's the key.
I will only ever recommend brands that I know, love, and use myself. And one of those is Ancient and Brave. Honestly, they've become part of my daily habits. The very first thing I do every morning is pour myself a big glass of water with their True Hydration in it. It feels like such a simple ritual, but it really sets me up for the day. And I know I'm properly rehydrating with their blend of electrolytes and minerals, especially before I exercise, which I always do in the morning.
Then later on, when I make my coffee, I stir in their True Collagen powder into the coffee. Now, it blends in straight away, no fuss, there's no taste, and collagen is something we naturally lose as we age, but it's so important for our skin, joints, and overall vitality. Now, I'll be honest, Ancient and Brave may cost a little more than some of the tubs you'll spot on supermarket shelves, but the difference is you're getting the highest quality ingredients, sourced with integrity and tested to a higher standard, and absolutely no nasties added. That's why I trust them and why I think they're worth every penny. And because I want you to be able to try them out for yourself, I've got a special offer for you. As a listener of this podcast, you can get 20% off your very first order. All you need to do is click the link in the show notes and pop in the code POLLYW20 at checkout. They've got more than just collagen and hydration too. They've got creatine, they've got blends, supplements. So it's a perfect chance to explore their range and make the most of that 20% off.
Absolutely. I mean, every morning, I just love my bed. So every morning when I wake up, I am just...
That's the time when you don't want to love it.
No, exactly. But it does give me huge amounts of joy just being warm and snuggly. And that is just like a great way to start the day. And actually, what I have been doing, although now that's not going to happen, but the last few weeks, having a cup of tea in bed and enjoying that. But it's these little moments that you can just savor and just take the magic out of it. And like yesterday, for example, I was in a bit of a funk. I was feeling restless. I was feeling a bit sorry for myself. And I just went down with Giles down to the seafront and watched the sunset. And honestly, that was it. That is all I needed. It just absolutely elevated my mood, and just that sort of wonder of like, oh my gosh, another day's gone, and watching this beautiful sunset. So it's about, as you say, it's about finding those small moments and really just getting everything you can out of it and really truly appreciating it. And I think what I would say about doing that in a way where you can feel that joy is that you've got to start by quietening what's going on in your busy mind. Because 100%. If your mind is constantly on and busy with racing thoughts, it's very hard to notice these moments. You're on to the next, you're either into the future or you're looking back at the past. You're not present. So it's all about being present. I'm rereading The Power of Now at the moment, actually, by Eckhart Tolle. And so it's really front of mind. It's that ability to be able to observe what is going on in your mind, that kind of constant noise and chaos. And only when we can kind of detach from that are we able to get that real sense of peacefulness, and that's what makes us joyful. And of course, you can be joyful because of something you are experiencing. Of course you can in the moment, but I believe real true joy is when you are detached from the noise and the chaos going on in your mind, and you are really just peaceful in the moment. And that's all about just being present with what is right here, right now. And that is why I'm so obsessed with helping and guiding people to experience that, to be able to detach from their thoughts, to notice their thoughts, to build that awareness. Because the more you do it, the more naturally you do it in everyday life, the more you are able to notice those small little moments of like, oh my goodness, wow, look at the sky, it's so blue today, or whatever it is. And it can sound a bit like, oh God, is that really true? But it is, I believe, the absolute key to everything, because you don't need another whatever it is. You don't need to acquire more stuff to bring you joy. You just need to learn to be here in this present moment right now, and just find joy in those moments. And for me, honestly, I haven't always done this. This is such a new thing. The last 5-10 years, this is 5 years probably, I have discovered this. And it's been a complete game changer. It's like Yeah, and I think more and more people are realizing this and waking up to this, and this is why we all do what we do. It's because we're trying to help others to become aware of the thoughts. The thoughts are there; they're always going to be there. But can we detach from them? That is really that is the work to do, to find a sense of peacefulness and joy in the mundane, in the quiet moments.
Well said, my friend. I mean, but that's it. You're so right, Polly. That is it. That is the fucking key. Excuse my French. And if everybody in this world was able to do that and was able to understand this truth of life, this would be a more peaceful world. The end, period, full stop. If everybody started to understand what we're talking about here, it very, very simply, it would be a more peaceful world. It's just as simple as that. I don't care what anyone says. And also, anyone who is potentially watching or listening to this, rolling their eyes, go, oh my God. Oh, shut up about the shut up about, the sunset in the sky. You know what? Bugger off. If anyone, no, seriously, because just you enjoy your depressing, anxiety-ridden, stressful, negative life. Just good luck. And so I will absolutely die on this freaking hill. I am happy to be the person that everybody laughs at, or you. Do you know what I mean? Us. Feel free to go. Oh God, Polly and Lucy, have you heard them? Oh my God, they're just so nauseating. I'm so happy to be that person. But honestly, you just good luck. Good luck. Do you know what I mean? Really, you've got if you're feeling shit about your life, in fact, if you are rolling your eyes at Polly and I and our kind of quote positivity or whatever you want to call it, about talking about doing the work and all this, you more than anyone need to do this work. You more than anyone need to get aware, and ultimately, it is. We talk about this. There is not a week that we've been doing these for more than 2 years now, haven't we?
No, God, yeah. I can't believe that.
I know. But I don't think there's 1 week where you and I have not mentioned the word awareness, because ultimately it comes down to awareness. If you are not aware of if you're not aware of your own mind, you cannot do this work. So the first step is starting to notice, hang on a minute, am I a bit negative? Am I in my head all the time? Am I having a million thoughts? Am I present? Am I noticing because I know me 10 years ago, oh my God, my mind was a fucking shit show. Jesus God, it was just, not a good place to be. So ask yourself, is your mind a happy place to be? Is it a pleasant place to be? Because whatever is going on in your mind, that is, it's an inside job. It just is. It just is. Whatever is happening in your mind and in your inner world, that is what the outside world is going to reflect back to you. It really is as simple. That's the thing about this stuff. Every week we talk about it in a slightly different way, but ultimately it is about learning that it's all an inside job. And also it's what all of the concepts that we talk about, they're very, very, very simple, but they're not easy. That's the thing. All of this stuff is really simple, but it's not easy. And that is the problem. That is why people find it so hard, because it's this vigilance with your thoughts. It's this awareness. It's very, it's very simple. You have to be aware of your thoughts. That's very, very simple. That's a very simple thing to understand. Being aware of your thoughts, but to actually start being aware of your thoughts is not easy when you're new to this stuff. But like you so rightly said, it is about presence, because the more present you can be in the moment, the more present you are, the less you're thinking, the more joyful, the more peaceful you are. It doesn't mean you never think, because of course we're always thinking, but the question is, are you getting caught up in thinking, ruminating, obsessing? That is what we're trying to avoid. We're not trying to avoid thought, because we're never going to not have thoughts, but it's just we want to be getting caught up in our thoughts less and less. And the more present you are, the more truly present you are to this moment here, the less caught up in your thoughts you are, because you can't be. And it's like we talked before about flow states, like that wonderful, wonderful feeling. If you think about when you're so immersed in something that you love doing, or even immersed in something that you don't love doing, but if you're really immersed in something like that you really love doing, like, you know, say when I'm, for example, with me, when I'm working on the podcast and I'm just completely immersed, that is when you realize you're not thinking. Or there's very, very, very little thought going on, because you're so in the present moment. You're in that flow state. That is what we're trying to achieve.
And that's when you start to also be able to, and don't get me wrong, I find this really difficult, and that's why I'm kind of quite sort of obsessed with it, because I find this hard. It's not like I find this easy at all. And sometimes I've noticed that my thoughts are all over the place. It's like, come on. So it's really, it isn't easy. But it's only when you start to notice your thoughts, that's when you start to notice your patterns and your unhelpful patterns. And so, for example, if you are someone, going back to what we were saying at the beginning, who is kind of feeling a little bit of dread about going to work today, and starting back life as, you know, the routine, just try and pay attention to what are the stories, the narratives that you are playing over and over again in your mind. Is it about the fact that, I've just got to do this, I haven't got a choice? Is it because you don't feel like there's anything else you can do, or you couldn't do it, or you don't believe that you can do it? It's really then that you can start to notice these stories. And it's when you start to recognize the stories that are coming up again, or the beliefs that you are holding, and they might be beliefs that you had for ages, and sometimes really difficult to find what the belief is holding you back. But you can only do that from getting aware. But once you found it and you've noticed it, then that is literally the most amazing thing you can do, because you've got awareness of it, and it's like, okay, now that just takes the power out of it straight away, and you can start to do something about it and move forward. And so that is really powerful as well, just to notice some of these limiting beliefs that you might have had. And they're sneaky, because quite often you don't notice them because they're always there. But the more you do this work, this inner work, the more you recognize them. And then you can kind of go, right, I've done with you now. I've had enough of you, and start sort of reprogramming your mind to what you do want.
And also, I've had just one more thing. That one thing I find really helpful is to start noticing how other people behave. And it sounds weird, but I find this really helpful. When you start noticing how angry everyone is, or how negative everyone is, or how much people moan and complain, when you start looking for that, when you go into the shop, when you go to get your coffee, whatever it is, at work, just start noticing how many people are very, very angry and negative and moaning and complaining and all the rest of it. Because by noticing it in other people, you can then start to go, oh my God, shit, do I do that? Do I do that? And it almost makes it easier to start recognizing it in yourself. You know, like maybe you sort of you're not currently aware that actually there's a group of people who you hang out with, I don't know, once a month or every fortnight, maybe there's a particular friend group, or, you know, work colleagues who you hang out with regularly, and actually all they do is gossip about other people. Like, just notice that. You know, and so I just think sometimes when you're looking for those things in other people, it makes you start noticing them in yourself. And then when you do that, you're like, oh God, no, I don't like that. I don't want to be, because when you start seeing that in other people, you kind of don't. It's not a good look. So you then start. Do you know what I mean? You become aware.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you spot it more and more as well.
Yeah, you do.
Then you kind of pick up on that negativity more, and you're like, oh no, I don't want to be around that.
Yeah.
Right. Well, somehow we went off on, I don't know what we call this one, but we're
no idea.
But yeah, thank you, Lucy. We managed to fill half an hour as ever about something. So yeah. Perfect. All right, and thank you guys for anybody watching, listening, and we'll be back next week.
Absolutely. Sending you lots of love. Have a good day. Good luck on. Thursday with a scan.
Thanks.
Bye.
All right. Bye.